Like if you've attended a lock-in and you're not selling 20, 30 grand a month, that's our fault because we did a terrible job there. So it's like we want to set the standard to where you can almost come in there with a clear mind and a mind to get a lot of feedback, criticism, and be extremely coachable throughout the entire process. This is going to be a schedule for you to fall back on when it gets tough.
Now let's transition from new agent to more of like an advanced agent or a seasoned manager. What are things you're doing with them? And then where kind of did the lock-in type concept evolve from?
Yeah. I think to get in a leadership role, you have to develop yourself to be able to give information to your leaders every single day, every single week, every single month. The moment you're not giving solid information or solid advice, they don't need you anymore. I don't need them to need me, but I want to be an asset in their business to be able to give them information. So like personal development is huge. Some people are like, yeah, maybe. I was the same guy. I'm like, yeah, dude, I don't even read books. I can't I can't stay focused enough to read a book. I can't stay focused enough to listen to a podcast. But I understood that where I was at, I didn't know enough to lead a team. I didn't know enough to give advice. I didn't know enough to be able to be that backbone when people were having tough weeks or tough months or stuff was happening. So in order to lead a team, you have to understand like you're taking on a, a, a different role as, like I said in the beginning, they didn't recruit themselves. You recruited them. So you owe them everything they need to have success. Now that's if they're working hard, they're showing up, they got effort, they got a good attitude. But in order to be, I think, a leader in this business, like you got to be doing something hard, whether it's waking up, ice bath, working out, going on a walk. You got to get up and get your brain rolling, but not in the business. You got to wake up and you got to have a clear slate every single day. Because if you're carrying yesterday's problems today, that weight is eventually going to beat you down, and it's going to be hard to have a good attitude in this business. So personal development is huge in this business. And then
what are you listening to or reading, or any top 3 guys you or girls you listen to, or like if you're on a rough day, just got chewed out, Bree and you got in a fight, maybe, I don't know if that actually happens. You guys seem to have a good relationship, but like, you got chewed out by an agent, someone's pissed at you. What are you turning to? What's your personal development?
Yeah.
Couple guys, or is it videos, et cetera? What are you going to?
Yeah. So in the morning, I listen. So if something like that happens this afternoon, I'm good. Like that doesn't phase me. I've already built a solid foundation. But I read like daily teachings every day. I'll read a book every day, some to do with personal development, some to get me thinking different. And it's so crazy. The way my brain works is like any day I'm having like a rough day or I feel overwhelmed, I sit there, I'm like, you're an idiot, Bowen. You didn't read this morning, or you didn't listen to a podcast this morning. And that doesn't happen now. Like I'm extremely consistent in my daily regimen because I know if I'm not going to be able to be the leader that my people need me to be and to steer people in the right direction. So I'll listen to, David Goggins gets me fired up. So I'm on the treadmill or I'm on the Stairmaster, I'm listening to him. Ed Milet gets me thinking different. Wes Watson, a little aggressive, but he's got some stuff that I like that he says. And you don't have to like everything they say. I just try to find one thing that I like that they say, and I'll write it down. And I'll try to act on it or use it in my business, or okay, I like that he said this. How do I implement this in my training? And it's going to teach you how to have different conversations with your managers and your leaders. And imagine if all your managers and leaders are doing that, everyone on our team is, and it's insane. Like if all our managers walked in the room, you wouldn't even know who runs the ship, because that's how it should be. Like we have so many people that are doing big things in our business, and it's because they're developing themselves and they're going to the gym. And I think it's like, I want to have I have a vision for us that's way bigger than I can ever comprehend. But it's like it's bigger than the money. I want to change people's lives mentally, physically, spiritually, and then the money's going to come. That's what it was for me. I can't expect to make money if I'm in the worst shape of my life. I can't expect to make money if I'm in the worst mindset of my life. If I'm the worst spiritually. And if you get those three dialed in, oh dude, it's insane. You almost feel unstoppable in this business.
Yeah. Good. I've heard before, good leadership or good speaking is saying similar things differently, right? And it's making more understandable. So just like when you hear the way Ed would say something or Goggins' mental approach, it allows you to then reformulate that and communicate it, but some way that you maybe said those words already, but now you tweak it and now it's heard differently. It's like the mom and dad syndrome, right? Mom tells you you can't do something and then you go to dad, but dad says the same thing. He just says it differently. So that's awesome, man. I mean, it's a cornerstone of my life. I know, man, you know, it's great to hear that how well you've implemented into your business. So let's talk about though, like, and this is just a concept that we've seen you evolve, and I would give you credit for pioneering it. But the lock-in, like, which is it? It's 3 days of intense selling, and you know how define kind of where that evolved, and then how often do you do them? How often would you suggest the team to do it if they were looking to kind of emulate some of the things that you're doing?
Yeah. So we like the lock-ins, they were good, but it wasn't enough. Like we weren't being scheduled enough. We weren't being structured enough. We weren't finding enough about our agents to really develop them to sell at a high level.
Okay.
So like I forget which lock-in it was, but it really made a turn. It was me, Denilly, Troy, Carrie. I think there was a couple other guys, and it was like, dude, we need to start working out with the team. Like we need to wake up, we need to work out. You don't have to be the most athletic, you don't have to be the strongest, the fittest. Like we just gotta wake up, we work out together, and that's gonna tell us a lot about you then. Because like if we're running sprints or we're doing push-ups or we're doing air squats or we're doing abs or something, and we have two more reps and we see you give up. Okay, well you didn't start quitting in insurance, you start quitting physically. And if you can overcome the physical pain, it doesn't even equate to the mental pain in the insurance industry. It doesn't. Like if you're waking up, you're doing something hard, and then we're sitting there, we're having a meeting, and we can sit here and we can break down like, hey, this was tough, but this really changed my mindset and the way I think because I was getting away from this in my life. So like we did, Troy's brother came and I never did anything. I never did any of the cold plunging, the breath work, anything like that at all. And I did it, and it was like the craziest experience ever for me. Like we got extremely intentional. We were doing breath work. It was like a high for me. And I was high on life. I felt extremely grounded. I felt extremely in control of my life. And I wasn't the only one feeling that way. Everybody at the lock-in was. And it was cool. It was like, what's your word today? We would go around. It was like, or what's your intention? And everybody would say a word, and that's your word for today. And then we would get in a cold plunge, and then we would get out. And it was just insane. It was a cool spiritual experience to go through with the team. But everybody left feeling like they got better. And you didn't feel drained. So there was lock-ins where maybe we left and we felt drained and maybe we didn't grow personally, professionally, or spiritually. All we did was get sales. So we had to make it bigger than sales because this business, if you want to grow it big, it's bigger than just selling life insurance. It's developing yourself and challenging yourself and challenging others. And the moment they see you're not scared to do it and you're not scared to work out and you're not scared to get in the cold plunge and you're not scared to fail, shoot, they're going to follow you too. And then if they do it and they get results from it and they have a clear mind and a clear thought process, then hell, we're all winning. And I think as leaders too, like we got a lot of people on this team that do lock-ins that invest a lot of money and time into getting agents there, getting their flights or helping them out with leads or covering the entire Airbnb. And like we got to expect a lot out of the lock-in to move us in the right direction. Like I think last year I probably spent at least 250 grand on lock-ins. And I don't say that as like, oh my gosh. Well, I say it's like, I'm not afraid to invest in the business, but if I'm investing, we need to have like a strict regimen to really get these people up and rolling. Like if you've attended a lock-in and you're not selling 20, 30 grand a month, that's our fault because we did a terrible job there. So it's like we want to set the standard to where you can almost come in there with a clear mind and a mind to get a lot of feedback, criticism, and be extremely coachable throughout the entire process. This is going to be a schedule for you to fall back on when it gets tough. Because if you knew it took us 4 days, 12-hour days for you to get one sale, well, hell, there may come a time in your business or down the road that you have to go back to that schedule to get the sell again. So we're just trying to really establish this foundation of working hard, not being afraid to fail, not being afraid to trip and fall. I mean, Bobby Bridges was running sprints with us. He tripped and fell on the bridge on the asphalt, and he got up and he was just ready to roll.
It's good. Love Bobby. Love Bobby. That's awesome, man. It's almost like a real world boot camp, right? Instead of the virtual boot camps we put you through to try to get, you know, your insurance mind right. It's let's refine what your habits are. Let's get you waking up earlier. Let's get you, you know, sweating early in the morning and making that the hardest part of your day. So the rest of it seems simple. And you just do that in a very controlled, confined environment. Let's, as we close, man, you know, you've done, you know, it's easy to see how focused you are. And I'm sure there's challenges that you go through, but with your daily process from your early morning habits to personal development towards just the way you carry yourself, which has come from, if I carry myself soft and weak, my team will think it's okay to be soft and weak. And if I carry myself as whether or not it's a facade or it's an act or it's just you know, sometimes you got to lie to yourself. Like I'm having a tough day, you know, dealing with some stuff. You've evolved yourself to a person where people go, I'd like to be like him, or I'd like to implement some of my habits. And that's, you know, I applaud you for doing it, man. And clearly your team, drop a BS in the comments below if you love Bowen Sweeney. But what is some, you know, as we close it out here, some final advice you have to, you know, some agents that are scared, that are terrified, that are trying to break free to that next level and are just looking for some, you know, just one last bit of advice from you?
Yeah. I mean, everybody has that thought process. Anybody that I worked with had second thoughts about the business. I never did for some reason, maybe because I didn't think I could be anywhere else. I didn't think I could work for anybody else, but a lot of people that I worked with have had thoughts of, hey, maybe this isn't for me, or hey, I don't know about this. And then a month goes by, 2 months goes by, and they have their biggest month, and they're like, dang, dude, it was my habits, or it was this, or it was that. So it's like the biggest thing is we have to audit our lives. Like, how much time, effort, and energy are we putting into this? And how much time, effort, and energy are we putting into our own skill set? Where are we getting distracted? Are we productive with our activity? Because we can all get on Zoom for 12 hours a day. Some people write 10 grand and some people won't even get a sale. And you look at it and you were like, okay, he dialed for 2 hours, was on Instagram, Facebook, then he dialed for another hour, and then he took lunch for 3 hours. And it's like, I get that. That's the luxury of it, but that's also the curse of it. So it's like if we audit our life and our situation, it was like when I started, it was in the home. I couldn't sell virtually. Nobody was doing it. And there was times that I didn't eat breakfast, I didn't eat lunch, I didn't eat dinner, and I wasn't worried about being hungry. I was so focused on just getting better and trying to figure this business out. And if I could do it, it makes no sense. I have the background for somebody that should never have success. Like just the way I grew up, my friends, my circle, like majority of my friends are dead that I grew up with or went to high school with or went to middle school with. And it's insane. Like I have the legit background that should never have success if people believe that way. So it's like, if I could do it, you can, but it's not going to be easy. And you're going to learn a lot about yourself in the process. There's going to be times that you're like, dang, this is really hard. But guess what? You're still alive. You just got to put one foot in front of the other and you got to keep it moving. There's plenty of times that that's why I go to the gym too. I like to put myself through hard stuff. And it's like, dang, one more rep. I'm like, or I could let off now, nobody's watching. But it's now I know. I never want to lie to myself, because the moment I forget what I was watching. It was crazy. It was like an outdoor show, and I actually learned something from it. And it was like, this lady quit, and he's like, I can never trust her. I was like, what the heck? Why is he saying they're getting deep on this outdoor show? He's like, well, she quit once, so it makes the next time easier to quit. And then next time's easier to quit. And even the next time's easier to quit after that. So it's like, if you quit, you're going to quit until you just throw in the towel and say, you know what, I'm fed up. I'm not quitting. I'll do whatever it takes. And I'm not forcing anybody on our squad or anybody that's listening to this to go through hell to figure it out. It's either going to work or it doesn't, but you got to give it everything you have in order to figure it out. Like for me, I didn't know anything about insurance. I didn't know anything about sales. I didn't know anything about connecting with people. I was the type of guy that would just put my hat down, put my head down, go to work. And that's what we have to do in this business. If you want it to work, it will work. If you think it won't work, it's not going to work. So you got to get around winners. You got to get around people that hold you accountable. You got to get around people that aren't going to sugarcoat it. If I was around people that were like, hey, dude, you're doing good when I'm broke, or I'm working 2 hours a day, they're not my friends. They're just hurting me. So get around people that'll be honest and transparent with you. And I think that's the biggest thing.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome, Bowen. Well, dude, I appreciate you. My pride for you is irrelevant to what you're proud to be of yourself because of what you've done. You've created, and you're the most humble guy there is, but you've done something fantastic. And everyone drop an 80 in the chat below to show Bowen some love to go for their team goal of knocking out 80 million issue paid volume this year. Huge, huge number. Something totally reachable, especially with implementation of annuities. And I'm sure you guys are already writing a bunch of IULs, but just to see what's able to come in. I appreciate the world of you. Looking forward to seeing you more soon. And congratulations on your beautiful new office. It's awesome. Continue to see you invest and lead in your team, and we'll have more fun in Dallas. So appreciate you, Bowen.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
Awesome, brother. Talk soon.